Welcome to this edition of Dufferin Life. I'm your host, Teena Avery. Thank you so much for tuning in. So there's an event coming up, and it's going to last the entire month of November. And let me tell you, it's going to just... it has to do with food. It has to do with a not-for-profit, a really worthwhile organization, and raising some money. Joining me today, we have Colin. He is from the United Way. He's a relationship manager. Colin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us here today.
Well, I am thrilled that you're here. We're going to talk a little bit more about the event. We're going to keep the juicy details a little bit longer, because I want to talk about the United Way and the work that you do. So just tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, well, so I'm a relationship manager there, which means I'm part of the philanthropy team. And part of what I do is I help steward along the workplace campaigns. So during September through December, we have a lot of different employee fundraising campaigns that we help manage. So I do a big part of that. I'm also responsible for finding sponsorships for United Way. As well, we've started a major giving program as well, so I'm involved in that too, which is more the individual donor side of the not-for-profit realm. Okay, so let's talk about the United Way. I mean, I know there's so many different things that you're helping with in different communities, but where does the money go when it comes into you? Because it's not something like breast cancer awareness, like where you know the funding's going there. So tell me a little bit about that. Yeah, so overall, United Way has different funding streams that impact different sets of social services around the community. So we have like our Poverty to Possibility, which is helping people who with lower socioeconomic challenges overcome those obstacles they face, the like food insecurity, homelessness, housing insecurity, those kind of things. Our All That Kids Can Be platform helps give kids a chance in life, ones that might be a little bit disadvantaged with where they are growing up or have gone through certain experiences. That's to help prop those services up in the community. As well, our EDI platform, and Equity, Diversity, Inclusion. That one talks about bringing in people from the community that might be people of color or different backgrounds, indigenous, those communities, and essentially just ensuring that they get an ability to help their specific services as well, the ones that they would be part of in the community, but specific to like their interest groups and those populations. And then looking at, you know, for Dufferin County, they would be part of our rural communities funding program. So that whole program is designed to help people that live in rural areas access the services that can be very challenging to access when you're not in an urban area. So helping fund different organizations that transport people to these locations, or in the example of helping with food insecurity, Orangeville Food Bank would be one of the funded partners that are a benefactor of United Way's work. So those are the different funding streams and what we do. So, I mean, it's a vast stream of things that you're doing. So, and why I bring people on the show is to help create awareness for things that are happening in the community. So we're just at the beginning of November. So I'm going to just turn it over to you to tell us about this delicious endeavor that is going to help raise some funds for you as well. Yeah, so really excited to tell you about Novemburger. So across Guelph, Wellington, and Dufferin, we have 14 different restaurants participating. Really excited to see how this is going to go. It's the first time we've done it in our geography. This is actually a program that started with United Way in Thunder Bay. Okay. So $2 for every Novemburger sold is going to be donated back to United Way. And the best part is that whichever restaurant you go to, the money that's raised in that restaurant will stay local to that community. So if you go to one of the restaurants here in Orangeville, that money raised will stay in Dufferin County to help with programs that United Way helps fund around here. That's absolutely amazing. So I'm hoping you caught that. No, I was going to say it wrong. I was going to say November. Oh my goodness. Novemburger. Novemburger. Oh my goodness. And I had it in there. It just wasn't coming out. So we're talking about burgers in the Orangeville area. We have two participating restaurants. We have Deja Vu Diner and we have the Tap House. Yes. So and you're not limited to just having burgers here. Obviously, as we mentioned, it's that money will stay in this community. But let's talk about the passport and how this works. And it's a little bit of a contest for the best tasting burger, is it not? Yeah. So in addition to all the money we'll raise with the program, there are 3 awards up for grabs. So the first one is the Top Novemburger of the Year award. So this will go to the restaurant that has the highest average score from our Novemburger ambassadors. So these are community leaders that are the official judges of the program. So people here around Dufferin County probably know Mayor Lisa Post would be our closest one here. But there's 11 of them total that will be throughout the month stopping in these restaurants and scoring the burgers based on taste, presentation, those kinds of things. And then the other 2 awards are most Novemburgers sold. So the restaurant that just sells the most for the whole month. And then the last one would be the People's Choice Award. So you as the consumer that goes to the restaurant and tries a burger, you'll be able to go online and vote for which one is your favorite. And at the end, the burger that has the most votes will win the People's Choice Award. So we'll be awarding all of that in the first week of December, right after November's closed out.
Well, I'm thinking that we need to go on the road and go try all these different burgers. So from what I hear, and correct me if I'm wrong, I know at least the restaurants here in Orangeville have created a specific burger. It's not just a burger you would normally have on the menu.
That's right. So most restaurants have designed a one-off Novemburger feature that's different every place you go. They all had free creative reign. So if you are a foodie, your taste buds will be very excited to go try some new things, different for different locations.
So did you get to taste test these ahead of time, or?
No, I've only been salivating at the emails flying back and forth so far, but I do intend to make sure I get to try each burger at least once.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is amazing. And I think online there's a passport that you can get to find out where all of these things are, yes?
Yeah, and so the passport program is another way that people can participate. So it literally looks like a passport. You can print it at home, and if you actually end up going to 5 of the destinations, you can submit your passport to United Way as a ballot for a chance to become an ambassador in next year's contest. So you'd actually be one of our official judges for next year's Novemburger. So that's what's up for grabs for those that go to 5 locations on their passport.
Well, you know I'm going to do that, right? I mean, the thought of just all these different types of burgers, because there's so many different things you can do with a burger. I mean, there was a time where you put your ketchup, mustard, and relish on it, and away you went. But now, when they have creative reign, especially the restaurants that we're talking about, I think that I'm already salivating. Like, I just can't wait to get out there and give them a try.
Yeah, me too.
So, so you said that this is the first year that you're doing this here in this particular community. And what has your response been from the local restaurants? They've been excited to participate and.
Yeah, for sure. This is something that once I was able to sit down, anyone I was able to sit down and explain what it was, it was received really well in the community. One thing too, I just need to say is just it's a thank you to everybody that's been participating. It's been sponsors, it's been as well the restaurants. We couldn't do this obviously without any of them being participants, but their passion and enthusiasm to rally around a great cause like this, it's been noticeable already. And it's giving me lots of reason to be very optimistic about what the program will do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's exciting, and I'm glad that you're here and we're getting to share it. And I hear a rumor that Deja Vu's burger is like a burger in between 2 grilled cheeses or something along those lines.
Yeah, I hear a rumor there's going to be 2 grilled cheese buns and some bacon in there. So,
oh my gosh. We need to stop the show now and just go get a burger. Like that sounds absolutely phenomenal. So, and I mean, I think it's self-evident, but let's talk about why campaigns like this are so important.
For a number of reasons. Obviously, first and foremost, I would say the funds that are raised, it all is money that goes back to prop up services that the community needs to deliver to its citizens that need it most. But then I think also just awareness. Like, I think that the more that we can be engaging people around, not just United Way, but like specifically, like I think the services that are fulfilled through this kind of work, I think is important. And then I think as well, the other important part of it is the impact it has on local business. That was something that like I got really excited about, being able to go around and talk to the restaurant operators. Like, let's all do something together, but let's do it at a time as well when you can get more people coming through your doors for a great cause. And I think it's just really great when the community wins, the businesses win, the charity wins, the people that need the services the most, they win as well. So I think it's just one of those great cohesive programs that gives everybody a chance to really feel fulfilled at the end of it, and that's another reason I think it's very important. Yeah,
absolutely. And we don't want to not talk about the Tap House Burger, which I heard has like a fried dill pickle on the top, and it's in honor of somebody, I believe, as well.
Yeah, their burger's called the Deedsy Burger, so it's in honor of someone that was in their kitchen that passed away recently. So I thought that was a really cool story that they shared, and I'm really excited to see how their burger does as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm putting it out there now. It's the month of November. You have from now until the 30th of November to go out and try these burgers and support your local businesses and support these local programs. Get out there, bring your taste buds, bring your family and all of your friends. And if you can't get out there, share the information, because we talk about this all the time. It's really important. Even if if you don't have monetary ways of helping organizations, you can help by just sharing the word and just spreading the word to everybody.
100%. And that's something that everywhere I go, I always want to just make the point that there's plenty of ways that you can participate in your community. It doesn't mean you have to be spending money all the time. Sometimes it is as simple as forwarding an email. And actually, now that you mention it too, we do have some great options around Novemburger at work. So if you work in an office somewhere and you just can forward it to your colleagues, even little things like if you already have staff Christmas parties going on, why not book it at one of the restaurants with the Novemburger being served, right? It's simple things like that don't necessarily mean that you have to spend out of pocket if that's not something that you have the means to do, or maybe you've committed your dollars elsewhere, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we're here, is to create the awareness. So how long have you been working there? And
I started April 1st at United Way, so it's been a few months. I have most of my work experience comes from the private sector.
Okay, and so if you were going to, in one sentence, just kind of say to everybody, this is. I mean, I'm going to say it's the tastiest event of the fall. I'm going to cop out and say, like, I did pull that from your website, but what would you say to just get people? What if you don't like burgers? What are you going to tell people to just kind of get out there and give it a try?
Well, I think if you don't like burgers, I would say order what you want to order when you go to the restaurant.
So Colin's not going to force you to order a burger, whereas I'm like, no, try the burger, just give it a try. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other strategy is go with someone else who does like burgers and ask them to cut you off a little piece of it if that's the thing. But if you have something against food that's wedged between two pieces of bread, it's probably not for you.
Yeah, absolutely. But bring friends that will enjoy it for sure. Yeah. Make it a night out with your friends, a night out with the family. Go and support this amazing and very worthwhile cause. Colin, I want to thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me here, Teena.
It was truly my pleasure. Don't you go anywhere, because we'll be right back.
Watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more, that's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
There aren't many hospitals left in this town that are willing to take a risk on you.
Mondays on City TV.
We have a new attending, Dr. Oliver Wolf.
Dr. Wolf? Wolf?
Whoa!
You can call me Wolf or Oliver.
We might actually learn something for a change.
There's no one who's more devoted to their patients than you.
We are gonna figure this out together.
Where you get into trouble is with the establishment.
You took him to a bar.
Yeah, but look, there's a method to my madness. Okay, I love you, bye.
Wolf?
Brilliant Minds, all new, Mondays 10, 9 Central on City TV.
With Rogers TV, you can cheer on the home team from the comfort of your living room. We'll head to the rink, the field, the court, or the pitch, so you don't have to. Tune in and cheer on your local amateur athletes on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Dufferin Life. Thanks for staying with us. And if you're just tuning in, as always, you're tuning in at a great time. So we're going to talk about things that I've spoken about briefly. We've talked about grief and loss before. There's an event in town that we're going to create some awareness for. Joining me today, we have Ashley Temple. She's the owner of Main Street Station. Ashley, thank you so much for joining me.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So I'm going to let you talk about the event. The event is called A Night with Good Grief and Spirits, which you don't necessarily know what it's all about, but Ashley's going to tell us a little bit about what the event is.
I will. Where would you like? You want me to start right at the beginning?
Yeah,
or?
absolutely.
Okay. So I lost my husband very unexpectedly, tragically. Won't get into that story because you and I are just going to end up sitting here bawling our eyes out, and we really don't need to be doing that.
No, we don't want to do that.
No, that's not good for the makeup. So I lost him February 3rd, 11 p.m. of this year. Out of nowhere, unexpected. He was 53, I was 38. Left as a 38-year-old widow with a bar to run on my own, which is a massive operation, and trying to learn how to navigate life and everything like that. But that's besides the point. And for me, it was, there was no way that was just it. That my husband is dead, and I will never speak to him again. I will never do anything. Like, that was like, I couldn't comprehend it in my mind. Now, I've always felt and sensed spirits since I was a young kid. I've always known that there's been more. Right. So that kind of led me into, first off, the next morning, I actually slept, but I doused myself with sleeping pills because there was other ways I was not going to sleep. Literally, as soon as I woke up, I started Googling grief therapists because I knew I was not going to be able to do this on my own. I just knew. I was like, this is beyond my, I still don't, to this day, I still am.
It's hard to fathom it. I think, I don't mean to interrupt, and we're going to go back to that for sure, but I think for a lot of people, the next day, that's not where they're or even shortly after, you don't always think of I need to talk to a grief counselor. A lot of people will just spiral. The loss of a spouse is one thing. I've lost both my parents within 4 months of each other not that long ago, and there's all different types of grief, and people who've lost their children and friends, and I think it's a wonderful thing that you actually thought of that, to be honest with you, because I think for a lot of people, they may get suggestions from friends or family, or you should talk to somebody, you should talk to somebody.
And I think a lot of people think that they can deal with it on their own, but
it's a lot.
It's a lot, and it's messed up. It's messed up, and there's no linear process to it. It's literally like spiral. It's like a roller coaster spinning you up and down 25 times, going straight, back up and down 25 times, going straight for a day, back up and downtown. Yeah. It's I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
No.
Especially being 38.
I know,
and opening a restaurant. We had only opened November 16th, and I lost him February 3rd.
My goodness.
So yeah, it was the next morning I woke up and I was just like, I'm gonna need help. I don't understand what's happened. I still to this day, I'm like, he's just gonna walk through the door any day. It doesn't, I don't think it's really clicked in fully yet. I'm only eight and a half months in, so it's not, it's still pretty early. So anyway, Diane from Good Grief, she was actually on vacation in Antigua, and she wasn't supposed to be checking emails. And she got back to me right away because I had said, I'm 38. I just lost my husband last night. I don't know what to do. I need help. And she got back. It was either the Tuesday or the Wednesday, and I saw her Thursday.
Wow.
Like right away, I was in. And I had always heard about mediums, believed in mediums. Never really had a reason to see them. And then all of a sudden, like as soon as Dean passed away, I became obsessed with spirituality. Because like I said, I was like, there is no way that this is it. There is no way I'm never going to speak to him again. I am never going to feel him again. I am never going to feel his presence, that he is just gone. It's not possible. So I saw my grief therapist the first week. The second week I got in with Hazel McCallum in town, who is phenomenal. And she usually has like a 6-month wait list. And she even said, when I walked in, she goes, Dean made this happen because this does not happen. And she brought forth so much validation and things that she wouldn't know. And it just blew my mind. And it left me feeling a lot lighter. And then my friend Amelia Gaw, she tragically lost her sister prior to this. And she had seen Stephanie, who does my events with me. She goes by Adventures of a Midlife Medium on Facebook and everything. And she is amazing. She is just like, she is the light of my soul. She is just like, I love her to death. Like she has just brought me so much. So then I got in to see her and I started seeing her. And I started seeing her probably like every other week. And then I had another medium out of the UK. I actually had a few, like I was working with like multiples, but ones that I trusted. And, but what I did find along the way is that it's a very scammy industry.
Yeah.
So if I hadn't been referred to somebody or, had somebody in town had so many good reviews, I could have went online to anybody and they could have been like, oh, Dean's talking about how much he loves golf. Dean never golfed a day in his life.
Right.
But I would have been looking for so much validation that I would have been like, oh my God, you're so right. So that's the scary aspect of it.
Right.
So that's kind of what eventually led to the start of our group or our nights with Good Grief and Spirits. And I was in a session with Diane and her and I were talking about, especially for like young widows, because there's not a lot of resources for young widows because we're not that common.
No.
To be honest, we're not. Like I went to grief support groups with people that had been with their spouses for 50, 60 years. And I'm like, I feel for you. It sucks, but I can't relate.
Right.
You had 50, 60 years. I just got him back. I only had 7. I've known Dean since I was 16. We started dating when I was 18. He moved to the States. He came back. We were back together for the past 7 years. Married, everything. And so in my eyes, I had just gotten him back and then he's gone. So it's like, same but different. Right.
Yeah, and I think I've talked about this before on the show. When my parents passed, everybody obviously sorry, and but the people that you had more of a in-depth meaning, not that the other people were not meaningful at all, but people whose parents have passed could relate to what you're talking about.
Yes.
Right? Whether they had, and I was extremely lucky. I had my parents until they were in their mid to late 80s. Like I was a very lucky person. Not everybody is that lucky. But when you're talking with people about grief and about what's going on.
At my age.
Yeah.
They don't understand.
Yeah.
Like my friends, what's the worst they're going through? A breakup, or they're on Tinder and they're talking to the raw, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, nah. Not really the same thing here.
Yeah.
But so they don't know what to say, and they try to think of the things to say, and it's never the right thing.
No, and they
hard.
mean it from their heart.
They
but
do.
They don't understand
exactly
what you're going through.
Sure. It's like it's the same as just like, oh, just get up and go for a walk. Okay, you try getting out of bed.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't walk into my restaurant for the first month. Because for the first month, and luckily I had an amazing front of house team that just literally just took over for me. Because I remember I walked in there and I took 2 steps in and I had a panic attack. I was like, nope, can't do it. And I was forced to come back about 3 weeks to a month. And even then it was like, okay, 2 hours at a time, 3 hours at a time. Because he was everywhere but nowhere. Like we built that place together. So like everywhere I look, it's like, okay, well, we built that together, we did that. So it was just like way too overwhelming. And now, I can spend open to close there because I have a different perspective now because of all the steps that I have taken and all the people that I've working with that have helped me get to where I am now. You know, now I can talk about him without becoming hysterical and everything. And, you know, obviously there's times that I do get emotional.
Of course.
Of course. I mean, that grief stays with you forever. It's a never-ending thing. But I had been seeing Stephanie and Diane both separately. I think May I brought it up because, again, like I said, Diane and I have been talking about, you know, like, okay, like what can we do for, you know, what can you do? How do we find young widows? And I was like, well, it's not like we can put an ad out.
No.
Like, hey, young widows, this way, please. Because, like, one, a lot of them, even me, like, I don't want to go to groups. I don't want to talk to people. Like, it's you know, and especially with what I went through, like, my husband's death was extremely traumatizing. And I can't get into it because there's legalities behind what's going on right now. But I went through 4 code blues in one day. It was 0 to 100 and I was just sitting there going, what just happened?
Yeah.
Right. And
I mean, it's a lot to process, and I want to make sure that we touch on. We've got a couple minutes left, and I wanted. So maybe my best question to you is
the group.
The group. What to expect when somebody comes out to one of your events?
The group. Oh, the group. It's so. It's better than I could have ever imagined it to have been. So in May, I brought it up to Diane. I said, you know what? I said, what do you think about this? Because we're closed on Mondays. And I talked to Stephanie. I said, you know, I look at it and like it's helped me heal immensely. If I didn't have the two of them and I didn't go down the spiritual path that I was in, I don't know where I would be right now at still such an early phase. So the groups, they're amazing. Like we do 10 people, that's all we do. We're closed, it's a very intimate, it's a very close setting. We cry together, we laugh together. Like everybody is just so comfortable and it's such a healing thing. And you see people walk in and you can feel the heaviness on them. Like you can feel it, like it brings down the room. And so I start, you know, like just giving my little spiel about, okay, like this is why I started it, we built this, blah, blah, blah. Diane comes in and talks about, you know, grief and coping mechanisms and everything. And then Stephanie takes over the room and it's amazing. And it's like, and for me, one of the main reasons why I wanted to do it, it was like for, you know, people that have wanted to see a medium but have been scared because of what I mentioned, where somebody could say, oh yeah, he golfed and blah, 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 blah. But in this group setting, it gives validation, right? Because Stephanie will be talking to somebody and then, you know, somebody else that's like maybe a little skeptical will be like, oh, wow. Because that person's responding because Stephanie's saying something and Stephanie doesn't know any of the names of the people that are coming to the group. I'm the only one that knows. Nobody knows.
Right.
And she brings in names and she brings in things and it's just like, you just see as the night goes on, people get lighter and lighter and lighter. And then as they leave, they're hugging you and they're thanking you and they're happier. Like, I would say maybe not happier, but comforted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Happier is probably not the word.
Well, no,
comforted.
But yeah,
like
absolutely.
And it's, you know, and I've had multiple people like come back, like, you know, I need to come back next month, and it's just.
I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
I really don't. I really
I know, we don't have a lot of time. Because I won't go on for like an hour.
So yeah, I mean, and I appreciate and thank you so much for joining us and giving people an outlet and a safe place to come to.
And that's what it is. It's all about being safe.
Okay.
A safe space.
Thanks so much. And thank you for joining us. Until next time, bye-bye for now.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Are you low on food? Struggling to pay the bills? Overwhelmed by life's challenges? When you need support but don't know where to